I'd like to invite you to join me to just notice whatever is here, inside or outside. I'm noticing the noise from my computer. I'm noticing my cat must be eating. Slight noise. Noticing it's a beautiful sunny day. The light coming through the window. And internally, I'm noticing my nose has been stuffed for a while. Next thing I noticed, I naturally took a long, deep breath. I also invite you to notice as you settle in this being here and now, is there any urges, natural signals your body would feel better? You want to any actions you want to carry out, not necessarily from the mind, that would maybe make our body feel a little more comfortable, a little more settled. Do that. And notice any changes before and after. And maybe notice if something helped. What's your relationship to that behavior or that movement, that thing in the past? Or wonder how our history with something, a positive or negative experience, always plays into our current situation. Excuse me. With that curiosity, now I invite you to redirect your attention to the screen, to being in this virtual space with each other, and notice the shift. Anyone would like to share your notices?
I can go first. I noticed the sound outside, and I also noticed there there is an urge to cough in several times, and also I noticed when when you mentioned your cat, um, I was thinking what kind of a cat because my sister has a cat. It's in the other room. I was thinking about that cat. And then when you mentioned how to um, build a connection with that urge, I just feeling like, okay, just let it go. And then the urges to cough just sort of gone. It pretty fast. It's also a little bit amazing. So that's my sharing.
Thank you for sharing. Great observation. The awareness camera is wide open, so you can observe and report back the, these experiences.
Um, for me, um, when I noticed that my first go-to is go inwards, to notice what is going on within me. And then when Lise, you mentioned the sound in the environment, and then that's when I start noticing what's going on. Um, I think because my area is very quiet, so that's barely no sound beside like ventilation, the ventilation system, like the white noise. So I start noticing that, and then um, when at least you direct us to notice what are the urges, I start noticing like my two, like around the shoulders, there's some heat feelings. I don't know what that is, but it makes me feel, I've been feeling that um, for since yesterday. It's less intense today, but it's still that's lingering a little bit. So I just do movement to soothe myself. And then also a tightness in my stomach. Um, that's I know this has been a pattern when I'm very anxious or nervous about something, that my stomach will start to feel like that. That's a very familiar feeling for me. So I just put my hand there, breathe into it. Is there's still some feelings in there. No longer in the shoulder, but still some in the stomach. It is less than when I start noticing it.
Beautiful. I just, I hear your report. I just gonna see the mind's eye wide open, observing, not reacting, not being wrapped under the light, wrapped in the light, but having a clear oversight. That's beautiful. I can also report back. I've been sick, and then plus, what? Oh, my allergy, seasonal allergies. Plus, I got my period, so can't really tell which factor affects them more or less, and overall, not a great state. But I'm grateful that I can still have some focused attention um, during the workday. I can feel really tired, and my body just wants to shut down later in the day. But being able to still function, that's nice. And I noticed I had always probably had some stuffed nose since I was young, and there used to be kind of a dislike or really trying to conceive my heavy breathing try to either breathe with my mouth or to. And I didn't like that. I didn't like if people can hear my heavy breathing. But notice there's a difference. I don't mind. This is the state I'm in. I'm okay and more comfortable with my breathing. I also just maybe want to point out you are starting to get the key of our mindfulness invitation or mindfulness practice. I do not have a fixed script. Every moment is a different moment. It's really me starting to notice and notice my experience and extending the invitation to you to maybe also start to join me in becoming aware of your experiences. And your experiences don't have to be, and never probably won't be the same as mine. Yet I can still invite curiosity, invite attention to certain things, and maybe not. If you choose not to. The nonviolence is part of this approach, and I'm tasting the sweetness of this approach, because even though I was just noticing my experiences and being curious and wondering and inviting, your report is really good validation that as I just invite, you can go on your exploration and have your own unique experience. And whatever shows up, whatever you notice, is all welcome here. Thoughts, questions, comments? How was the practice this month overall?
I can start. Practice, I feel I'm more familiar with the flow, and I do have one question. Liz, it sometimes happen with the clients. When your the earliest memory, and sometimes they say, "Oh, I don't really remember this, but my dad and my mom used to say this a lot. This is what I did," and then I asked her, like, you have a picture of it? And then she said, they say it so often that feels like I can see it.
Yeah.
So, but she herself actually, she doesn't have this memory. It's depicted. So, will we take it as the earliest memory, or to the time she was told that this is like a memory? So that's not a earliest memory.
We don't have to cognitively remember for something to be memory. If something, we hear stories all the time about us, about family, but there are things that we hear and it's stuck with us. We kind of just run with it and start like believing in really our narrative that's incorporated into our narrative of who we are. And I believe that's because that fits our unconscious memories. And if the person can attach a image, even if it's kind of imaginary or like constructed image, and can feel some charge, disturbance, or discomfort in the body, then I'll go with that. I shared that demo Catherine did with me in the training setting. That was the first time, like, I knew the story. My mom lost her dad before she had me, not too distant, maybe just within a year or so. But that during that setting, bringing up that story, I felt the charge. So we worked through that. The unresolved loss affected my mom, probably affected the pregnancy, affected her connecting with me. Most of the time, it'll eventually make sense as we go through the processing. We don't have to understand at the very beginning, but also as you work with more clients and seeing the imprints of really early development, even generational things that always affects us and shows up and can be processed. Another way of answering that, I remember an interesting argument or conversation with my husband as I was in grad school, or when I first started practicing social work. I shared a research or example of veterans coming back home, and then their kid, they themselves have PTSD. Then many of their kids develop some kind of disorders, either mood disorders or conduct disorder, some behaviors, or so I was thinking, okay, is that genetic? Somehow the parents' genetic genes or something, and he really corrected me that no. Well, maybe there is a role biologically, but having a parent every day, their mood, their behaviors, and their whole being is affected by this disorder. That's the environment role. So it's almost always a combination of biology and nature and nurture. Now we know even nurture that can affect our chronic stress affects our endocrine system. It affects our the whole system. Then become manifested in biology. Then the biology further would affect behavior, then become environment for the offspring, kids. So everything in the meta level, I see everything is connected.
Thank you, Will. Interesting as you mentioned, generation. effects and traumas. This is actually my second question. As I was working, I am still like working with this client, and she mentioned her mom had several abortions before her. So every time she thought of abortion, she just have this big fear coming up. And her mom also used the drug. Her mom is a drug addict. And then, so if I work with her, then this one should be the earliest memory, right?
Whatever earliest the client can access, that means they can feel in their system. And there are exceptions, right? There are some stories they talk about it, they don't feel the charge, or the client or don't have the buy-in. Yeah, that's not really my memory. I want to work on this. This feels more significant. A later one, it's okay. We can work on later one and trust the system and be curious. In the informed consent, I might just good, yeah, we can go with that one a little later. The story, I'm just keeping in mind at some point I might be, if I'm seeing some signs that the earlier things might contribute to later, would it be okay if that happens? We have a conversation and decide if we go clean up the earlier one. Your system might be connected. I'm not predicting that it's for sure going to happen, but we just want to be open. I've worked with clients that have the story that, oh, I'm the reason that my mom couldn't leave this abusive partner. The mom got pregnant and stayed with him. So then they carry that narrative. Even though that's just timing-wise conception, or just about that first a few weeks of being conceived, doesn't matter. And there are stories of generational trauma really affects the family, the parents' well-being, and then it's also affecting the kids growing up with those parents. Great questions. With that question, if you recall, maybe at our second or third meeting, as we were still, really practice getting to the root, those worksheets I mentioned, there could be other ways, more advanced ways to identify memories. So basically you understand the concept that most of the time the presenting issue is also one aspect of the answer. I come in, I complain, I can't be close to other people. I get close and I push people away or whatever, or I feel so insecure, or my relationship never lasts, something. If that's the complaint, then you see, oh, somehow their answer keeps showing up. And we appreciate how the answer is trying to protect or help. That probably helped in the past, but is keeping them from getting what they really need now. as a grown up. Intimacy, closeness, stable relationship, right? Maybe it wasn't safe, secure to feel it, to be in a secure relationship. They are too anxious, waiting for something bad to happen or for someone to leave and abandon them again. So we see the presenting issue usually is one side of the answer, and the answer is a product out of pain, overwhelm, untolerable discomfort. Then just direct questioning, we may explore how was this. So first we need to be curious. Could this be an answer? Until we can start appreciate, right? We make contact with the 5 C's of working with the answer. Oh, it seems like you're really good at pushing people away, or being hyper vigilant with relationships, always on the lookout for something not going well. How did you become so good? And then we connect it to the past. And guess what? Whatever the root pain was, when they first started doing this, underneath that's a vulnerable memory. So that question could be just, how did you, I wonder how did you become so good at that? Can you see any way that helped in the past? And from their response, usually, wow, yeah, sounds like you started practicing and that was a solution out of no solution for a long time. Yeah. They may already have a memory coming up. They may already have an age. If not, I may just, can you take a moment when you are in that state, very insecure, when is this, probably they are really telling me they like me, they want to stay, but I can't trust. I'm afraid they are just lying. And okay, when you are in that really insecure state, how old or how young does that feel? Yeah, feels like I'm 4. My dad just disappeared on me. I'm guessing next question would be, how would this way of getting a memory fit with finding the root under the answer? Is that question? Are you too ahead?
I
do. I want to know that too.
Still recommend you to finding the root under the answer when you are in phase 2 before reprocessing. That's very powerful to activate whatever the client's system is ready to, or as you guide them from this funneling exercise, they will get to some earlier memories, and may not be all, usually not all. And later, when they come in with presenting issue or new presenting issue or something, if it's something that you can see the present struggle clearly is tied to earlier memory you already identified through that exercise, right? That's beautiful. Hey, I'm seeing so hard to just be just chill and hang out with your partner, enjoying each other instead of worrying something's maybe go wrong. And does that, tie, or that anxiety, that expecting the other shoe to drop, waiting for the other shoe to drop, that sounds like maybe coming from this memory. So if you can make clear linkage from a cow every week or struggle, and you go straight back to your list. If there are moments or times the client comes in with other complaints, doesn't seem to clearly connect to some of those memories, you can use that. Presenting issue, really drill down what is the answer. What is the answer helping? How did they become good at that? And what's underneath that? What kind of pain or overwhelm propelled them to develop this answer?
I want to clarify. So, do you mean, say, if they, after the first round or phase two, that we get to like funnel down and get to the list of memory, then we process that. And in the later sessions, when they come back with new presenting issues, if that can be linked with the list of memories, after we explore that, then we can just link it back to the memories that we have and continue the processing. And if it's like it seems like in the exploration with client, it's something that is a new discovery, then we can drill down to the answer underneath that presenting issues and to see what is the newly discovered ones. And then to start like we start a new list or just add into?
Just keep adding to your treatment plan. Except for the client, you may be in the process of working through these targets. Life happens. Client may be coming in and saying, this is something is really upsetting, and you can't, maybe you can, but the client can't clearly connect to past. They want to stay on the present. This can be a very quick exercise, not exercise, quick inquiry to really bring it to the client's attention that even though this present thing is so big, you feel like it's 100%, it's about the present situation. And we see what you're good at was linked to earlier memories, right? It's just so difficult to feel relaxed and trusting everything will be okay when things are actually going well. I'm thinking about a specific client. And as we prompt them to be curious, they can have more buy-in. Yeah, I guess it's still connected to the past. So you can use that to kind of help the client to really see the AIP model and have buy-in to keep going back to the past. Or if the client comes in with something seemingly different presenting issue, you may not, or the client may not understand how the past affects this present issue. You can also use that inquiry. It may land you to the same memories you already identified, or it may uncover new memories. Just keep adding to the list. It doesn't have to make sense to us, like logically category this presenting issue, this memory timeline, or doesn't have to. It's a memory network that makes sense to that person. If the pain was so great and that pain point can be shown in different areas in life, and you may develop multiple answers to try to avoid or try to manage. It all lead to the same vulnerable memory, or not same, but the network. But think of the network may have many knots. Like those are the distinct events, but have just this one exercise may not collect all of them. But this inquiry I'm just teaching you right now is another way to kind of reveal more of the knots in that network. We just all keep adding to the list.
When I was listening to these ways and also of connecting different memories and presenting issues to the answers, that's a client come up in my mind, which I've been I would say I'm struggling with going through the process with her. Is when I notice something that might be her answer, and then I wonder if that feels familiar with you, because I'm noticing that it's kind of connected to the answer that you shared in the very, very beginning of our process. And then the client would often get defensive and then said, no, it's just a specific thing. It doesn't generalize. It's like just a single aspect in my life. I don't see any connection there. And then sometimes I have an urge of wanting to just explore with her what that is that makes you feel is so different. But then I noticed that sometimes it kind of went into almost like a debate that the client said, it's just not like that. Why are you and I almost feel I impose something on her, which I don't want to be like that. Yeah, but I think I'm just confused if I'm going in like a direction that might not be helpful for her, how I can support her in that process.
What is it showing up for you as you bring up this client?
Frustration. And then this client is also a client that I feel personally there's a lot of similarity in my answers. Because it's a client that one of her answers are people pleasing. And I am a people pleaser. And then I also have I I noticed one of my answers related to authorities, which is also something that the client and I are working on. Yeah, so I notice these similarities when I think of the client.
I'm wondering if these similarities may be giving you, I don't know, maybe either some kind of a wanting the client to understand what I understand about my answer, or wanting the client to be here seeing things, or perceiving things
Yeah,
more clearly, like I'm
yeah,
able to see clearly.
yeah. So that's also I do notice that. And then that's also my worries of, oh, am I imposing what I'm understanding to what she really feels?
So I would like to share just that image or analogy that showed up as you were describing the client.
Yeah.
I'll go back to the camera light analogy. Sounds like their awareness is very biased, or the light is not very bright. So where their attention is, where so the their interpretation or perception of what's happening, they are not able to quite just observe and report with no judgment, with no, it's also entangled. Their intention and their actual experience, there's not a very good observer.
Mm.
And they are so invested in that they're not able to be in this reflective observer position to have this conversation with you. They are so in their answers.
Mm.
And then my curiosity is just becoming defensive and becoming just that almost like arguing and denying. What does that tell you about their answer?
Mm. Mm. I think, well, the next layer may be um, I want to be right. Um,
Uh-huh.
um,
Yeah, that could be. I don't want to be challenged, or I feel I'm challenged, or I'm not quite ready to. Or, but it's interesting that you shared this client also has people pleasing tendency and giving into authority. I thought,
mm.
isn't that beautiful? This client is saying no to you. You are wrong. I'm right.
Mm.
I would really highlight, hey, I'm so glad you're telling me I'm wrong. You are Your
Mm,
experience does not, what I'm saying does not reflect your experience. This is a
mm,
great new experience.
mm,
That means you are feeling safe and comfortable in this specific setting and relationship.
mm.
So that's
Yeah.
them actually showing the difficult, what's the underdeveloped part.
Mm,
I would really highlight that.
mm. Yeah, that's right.
Another image comes to me. Our client, they come to us, they have been lost in the dark forest,
Mm,
and we show up, try to guide them out. But we can't just give directions and expect them can comprehend the directions and remember the directions. Okay, go 100 yards this way, feet or whatever. When you see a fork or three-way, you take the left. Then this is us trying to give everything we know about AIP, about
mm,
how memories work and how they show up to get so mixed up with your presence. Even in this relationship here with me, they will show up. No, if we try to give them instructions like that, they can't
mm,
comprehend.
mm,
And if we insist that why are you not listening? Why are you not remembering what I said?
mm.
That's us trying to get
Yeah.
them somewhere they are not ready for.
Mm,
Instead, the nonviolence approach, the present moment principle, the compassionate assumption, the
mm,
healthy boundaries, all of them point us to I'm just going to stand right side by side with the client, giving
mm,
them, inviting them to be curious, to look around their surroundings, to observe, and be kind of on the same page. Would it be okay? This looks like a turn. Go left or go right. I can offer some direction from the EMDR or the whatever my expert. Would it be okay for us to go this way? Are you
mm,
comfortable with trying this way? And they are
mm,
comfortable, and they can say no, and they said no. I I I don't feel comfortable somehow. It's too dark or whatever. And oftentimes we are inviting them to go down a darker path.
mm,
Why would they want to do that? They are not, if they don't feel they are actually safe with us. They have all the gears and equipment that will prepare for them to get through that.
mm.
So wherever their readiness, this is the collaboration. And there's
Mm,
no one single right way.
mm.
No one
Yeah.
holding a scorecard looking down. So young, you with this client, you took that pass, you took that pass, and you didn't follow the EMDR process. No. Who is the judge? No.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting that you use that metaphor because um that's also coming up with this client when I was working with her when we are doing ratings. So she's a very artistic person and she's not very good at ratings. And when we're exploring, because we got stuck in the process, and then with one memory, we kind of took 6 or 7 sessions. We're still in that memory, and she felt discouraged because we keep processing the same memory. It seems like we can't really move forward. And then I just explore that with her. How is it like for her? And what is in the way in the process. And she was saying that one main thing is the ratings, that she don't really feel that she don't believe that there's an absolute 0 or an absolute 7. And then, so her lowest would be 0 to 1 or 6 to 7.
Okay.
And then she was feeling like there's literally like someone with a scorecard and marking that for her, and she doesn't really feel that that's the standard that she can reach. So that is one of the things that's in the way.
Hearing that, I'm also curious. What does that mean if a memory disturbance level goes down to 0? What does that mean to her? Would that mean is there unconscious fear that the people or these events that happen to me, I won't forget, or I would be, especially if it's negative, dangerous memories, I would not be equipped to be prepared for the future threats, or my life would not be whole when I forget some significant memory. So this is really to explore. Okay, I don't do absolutes, but what does it really mean? Where is that hesitation, or what blocks them from embracing a memory can be 0 disturbance? It can still be awareness. Maybe they don't quite really understand that. I can still remember this happened to me, and I don't need to feel the extra layer of activation. I can just talk about it. Like I don't know if you guys, probably not. This is a new slide I added and we've been using in PTI trainings. I want to show you slides. Day 1. Okay, so we use this in day 1. Where's my Zoom? Share. To bring home the 2 distinct memory networks. Memories that have been fully processed. They're like the stars in the night sky. We can name them, we can group them, we can tell stories about them without feeling big disturbance, activation. Then these memories, all of the things that don't serve us anymore are gone. All the things that continue to serve us, support who I am today and moving forward, support my well-being, support homeostasis and growth, will be here. I can get through hard things. I'm okay now. I've been in dangerous situation, but I'm safe now. I'm not perfect, but I'm work in progress. I can make mistakes and learn from mistakes. It's okay to ask for help, blah, blah, blah. Right? That's what it means. A memory can be just a memory. No disturbance. Even if it's a hard experience back then, but now I've digested, released all the things that don't serve me and keep only the things that serve me. And then unprocessed or maladaptive network, that's like the black hole or dark matter in the universe. They are there to have a direct shortcut to getting us into the survival mode, reacting to situations unconsciously. And they are in the raw form without time tag. Whenever that's triggered, we immediately tense up or we immediately shut down. We're getting into the same patterns that we had to. So that's the disturbance, that's the sadness, the heaviness or tension, the restlessness. It's either high energy or low energy. That's the fight or flight sympathetic energy or the dorsal shutdown energy, right? And they perpetuate negative beliefs that we believed or we felt in the moment, in that event. I'm a terrible person, or I'm unlovable. It's my fault. I'm a burden, blah, blah, blah. However, the event in that we felt, we still carry that. So maybe there's some underlying negative belief that's what we call a blocking belief. If I rate 0, maybe a part of me won't be remembering, or maybe I won't be prepared for. But this is the psychoeducation.
Yeah.
Our nervous system naturally will react to, if we can be fully present, we will react to danger and threat appropriately. It's that our window of tolerance, we won't be restricted because of these unprocessed memory. Then we overreact. Next slide also, to combine window of tolerance and the polyvagal states. So it's really the hybrid state. It's like the edge of the window. Most effective processing happens. I'm feeling safe to feel these low energy emotions. Right? To feel this tendency, my system is shutting down, but I'm still observing it. I know I'm in this exercise with my therapist. I'm feeling okay to feel this very big sympathetic activation. I'm with my therapist, and this is coming from unresolved memory.
Yeah. I think that would be very valuable to explore with her. She did mention that if one of the things that she feels it can't go to 0 is that her state will change from time to time. When she's more triggered, it won't be a 0. So she's kind of just preparing for that trigger.
Okay.
To allow like a range for herself. That's why she don't think that's a 0.
Great information. And I wonder if there's a fear that if she gives a 0 for now, this 0 will be held against her or something. Like she gives her word and people would take that. You said that. Why is it not that?
Yeah.
Yeah, could that be that afraid of make a statement, make a commitment, then being held against her? But her words being used by others against her, right? Would it be okay to know this moment? If it's 0, just report 0. And we don't need to guarantee. It's okay at next moment or next week, if it's 1 or 2 again, that's just good information. Whatever you are feeling back at that time, we can use that as the truth of the moment. And whatever you can access linked to that 1 or 2, we can clean that up.
Yeah, I like that. I like you said it's the truth of that moment. I think that can apply to not only this client but also to other clients too who are new to this process because it's more structured and sometimes kind of we feel being held accountable for we've processed it and they might think that we process that means they will no longer come up again.
That we can always only work, the only moment we have is this moment. Whatever you can access today, we clean up as much as we can. And there could be other channels, other layers show up, but this effective processing will definitely start to shrink that maladaptive network, clean up. This is effective processing. The parts we process, you do feel lighter, or eventually you go big and eventually feel some effective. Like being effectively released, part of that. But if more is showing up, would it be okay to attend to that when it shows up?
Oh, thank you so much.
Always being curious, really right next to the client. What is keeping them from being more open? What is, there's always their unconscious patterns showing up in this process. Afraid of giving a number that things may change, right? Afraid of themselves not making good enough progress for the therapist. How or if we are maybe showing this is 6 sessions is too many for a memory to not be down to 0. I have clients that we're still working on kind of the same memory for 2 years now. It's kind of the same memory, but kind of not. It's that she lost her mom at 2.5 years old. And she has managed her whole life. So in a way, everything she experienced later in life kind of was a reflection or as a result of mom not being there. So in a way, we kind of work on different things, but it always comes back to she's not there. Nobody can bring her back. I'm not okay. How could anybody ever be okay? because my mom is not here. In a way, we still keep. So just again, no two people's memory networks are the same. There's no one way of navigating this dark forest.
Mm.
Okay. I'm noticing the time. Do we need a break, a natural break, or a quick natural break? Or it's okay to keep going?
I can keep going.
How about you, Lyla? I'm aware I was late. Let's just keep going then. Okay. Yeah. Who would like to review the video first? Overall, what do you think you did well? A quick summary. What do you think you can improve? And if there's questions or points you need clarification, you can go straight to that segment.
I have one question, please. When I was the client with the Xiang being the therapist, and we actually dealt with the touchstone memory before, and it was a solid 0. However, when we uh, last time when Xiang was checking on me, I immediately thought I got the feeling for going up to 7 or 9-ish. I don't remember. It's really high.
Yeah.
So I was really confused. Um, like every time, like,
Excuse me, one sec. Sorry. I guess my body was saying, I do need a natural break.
you need a break, please. Do you need to take like 5 minutes or 1 minute?
No,
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. I was wondering if you guys would be concerned about me. I'm okay.
Okay. Where was I? Okay. So
Yeah.
the score just went like rocket high, and well, it shouldn't be that high. Remember, it's like 8 or 9. It's not natural, theoretically speaking. So I was wondering, I there was something happened that I got triggered before I went a session with Xiang, but I never thought it's gonna trigger that high. So even today, like when I think of the touchstone memory, I still don't think it's 0. So, and I had a really strong physical reaction. The session with Xiang, I can't stop coughing. So it's just I just it's not like really like your cough. Like my cough is think back to
Yeah.
the memory and start to cough. And the feeling was so strong. But at the first time, like the first time we dealt with this memory, I had no reaction at all. And it quickly went to 0.
Yeah.
But now looking back, while I was coughing, I have to remove myself from the screen and mute myself because Yeung was with her headphones. So
You
I was
were
like,
taking care of her. You wanted to take care of her.
And
yeah,
she shared that in the session.
Yeah.
yeah. So I was thinking like, um, what was that? Like, do I need to do like every time, like check the touchstone with the client as well?
Mm. Again, I invite you all to notice our mind always wants to know why, how, what is this? How is it connected, or is it connected? Is this normal? Is this not normal? If you are having all these questions, I invite you to notice that. Probably at at a different level, but everybody probably all have our similar this intellectualization, having to know why, what, how. That's what our minds do. Try to make sense of things so we can connect the dots. If we can know the causes, then we can plan and prepare and avoid, right? And that takes
I
us.
was check my video. Sorry.
And that is also what takes us out of the present moment, from just taking in and process information as we go. It's okay to still have this mind going in the background. And would it be okay to continue to embrace or welcome what is actually happening right now? And trust things will be okay. The client is going to be okay. The client system knows exactly where to go next. And trust the process. Just go with that. One key thing for phase 4 is, as long as things are keep going, keep moving, we want to stay out of the way. Go with that. Notice that. Go with that. Go with that. Notice that. But because you're learning, I will also let you know, or some of my background. I will let you know that as you go through more client, we work with more client, build your own database. This mind may be less, I have to know right now. More of, okay, this is what I'm observing. I may not know exactly why, but I still can trust. So because I get to observe more clients and what I'm observing, I'm wondering if there could be, even though you started with this dream memory, earlier body memories might be showing up through this processing. I don't know if you, Lyla, you know anything about your birth experience or your infancy.
I did past life regression.
Yeah. So anything that is showing up non-verbally, we could just assume it's ready to be processed. It's body memories that need to be processed. And to satisfy your brain, I have a big active mind. I read and I try to figure out why. All our memory, different channels of memories, either thoughts, feelings, body sensations, action urges, all these different channels, images, sounds, all the different, all the unprocessed memory, think of that as on the old disk. As we tap into that, I'm still here, like I'm rerunning that old tape as I'm rerunning it with my current computer system. I'm integrating that into my system, right? And in our brain, there is one part literally has a projection of our body, like this way. I'm upright, but it has my feet up there, like facing up. All that information, if it's related to the body, as I'm processing it, that information is going to be projected onto the different body parts. I'm feeling tension in my legs. That's the tension from 2 years ago, yet now I'm processing it. I'm actually being projected onto that map of my body. I'm feeling nauseous. That does not mean that I ate something wrong. That's just could be a sensation in the memory or right after, as consequence of the memory. My body is digesting, processing through that.
Thank you, Liz. Sorry, you were saying?
Go ahead. Yeah.
But as you mentioned that a memory just came out, that I once like almost choked by my own saliva while coughing. I was very sick in a heavy cold, and then I choked on my own, I don't know, nose or saliva, and I almost died, like literally died. I can't breathe in.
How old were
But it
you?
was nobody around. Yeah, I was in a plaza, and then I just can't get the air in. I kept getting the air out. And now it's probably the experience to death I
Yeah.
have this lifetime.
Yeah.
So now thinking about the cough, making sense,
Yeah.
probably.
How old were you when that happened?
It's 2019 or 2020. But I was
You're older.
fully grown up. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's really close to death.
Yeah.
I thought I would
Yeah.
die.
So
Yeah.
once we tap into that network, anything related could show up.
Mm.
So instead of an earlier feeder memory, this could be an older, but maybe more severe body memory. Now it's just wanting to get out. So with that, this is a clinical judgment in collaboration with the client. You now can add the target, either because this body sensation is right here, seems like your nervous system wants to go there. Let's target that choking memory first and see how far we can go, and then go back to the touchstone memory, or just somehow the touchstone memory is linked to that. Cluster them together, group them together. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how we label it in our process, but you know that's going to real material. And you want to eventually get to most memories cleared, and reevaluate. Whatever hasn't been cleared will show up in reevaluation.
Liz, I'm ready to show my video.
Great. Go ahead.
This is something I actually want to ask. Um, I, I have so many questions.
Good.
Yeah, this one. Actually, I want to know, see if you can,
Lost the memory that.
this part, I just want to focus on the maneuver. Here in the beginning, I'm actually on this side and using my right hand. And then in the middle, see, I'm using it like several sets. In the middle, actually, my arm
Mm-hmm.
got pretty sore
Uh-huh.
and it's pretty tired.
Yeah.
This is what I do in my sessions right now. It's like I will, because we're using Zoom, so I will slide myself
To the
to
other
the
side.
other
Mm-hmm.
side and then change my hands.
Yeah.
Um, Sometimes I slide back and forth, like when my arm is more comfortable. But I'm not sure, like, what are other people normally dealing with this? Or sometimes I will ask the client, okay, now do the butterfly, hug yourself, or tap your lap, and then I got some rest. Literally because I was so sore, both of my arms. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
We matter. We, in this process, we want to take care of ourselves too.
Mm.
If we are not okay, we're just struggling to, how can we truly be the co-regulator we want for our clients that you
Mm.
are okay, I'm okay, we're all okay. So I would say if your arm or whatever way you can't do one mode of bilateral stimulation, just don't offer or just let the client know. We won't be doing bilateral stimulation today, or we can start with, but I will maybe some point I will ask you to switch to tapping because my arm may get pretty sore quickly. Always, yes, address the obvious, speak, bring the elephant out in the open.
And well, normally what you do is
Even
like,
with that, also, I do want, like, when we do in person training, it's easier for us to really show how you do it, less burden on your shoulder. You
mm,
really have a good posture and your arm goes straight out instead of this way. You are straight in on the same plane. You can see the side way. This is the least burden on your shoulder when you do that. Can you feel it?
yeah, I can feel the difference.
Yeah, because this way your shoulder is trying to hold up the weight of your arm. This way, your arm is the natural, the weight is that you're
Mm.
just opening up and down.
Mm.
So this is a less tiring. Another is if you are doing Zoom, you can put the screen pretty close to you, and I have my arm on the table. Even though I'm doing like I'm actually doing this motion, but because my fingers can be so close to the screen, it doesn't appear like it's a windshield wiper arch. It's still kind of straight,
Mm.
right? Because I'm so close to the camera. But then also I have some support on the, so that's easier. Again, next practice, if you want to switch to technology using the on-screen bilateral stimulation.io or whatever on-screen tool you have, feel free to use that. This is important because we want to teach you how the original eye movement was done and done in a sustainable way.
Mm.
And the technology, you not only tapping, eye movement on following the dot, it also has the auditory for remote sessions. If you want to get fancy, they have buzzers that if the client purchases or you loan them a set of the buzzers, they can plug in their computer. You can still control their buzzers virtually. But auditory sounds is the most probably easiest. They can still keep their eyes closed or eyes open with the sound.
One more question, Liz. This could be a very silly question, and it happened to me 1 or 2 times. Like
Okay.
during the EMDR,
Uh-huh.
I really want mushroom, like 1 or 2 times.
You
But
really want, sorry, I missed
I
that.
said I really want to go to the washroom,
Okay.
and in the EMDR, you shouldn't really like stop because they are processing. And do we tell them like, hey, I really want to go to the washroom? Like, can we stop for like 2 minutes?
Of
Or
course. Of course. I see that as modeling for my clients, those that want to take care of me or want to do what's expected from them. They feel very apologetic or they try to hold. I want them to feel comfortable. You're a grown up, or this is a safe space. You don't need to ask for permission to go to the bathroom. I want you to really listen to your body and honor your body's signals. That's a really good thing. I celebrate that. So if I want my clients to do that, I have to model that. Go with that. What do you notice? Okay, I'm noticing that my body needs to use the bathroom. Would it be okay to take a brief break? Okay, I'll be right back. Well, of course, if they are in a really intense few sets, I might hold on to that for 2 minutes. But they come down from a big wave, and I was okay. This is like I'm making a comparison if my needs are more urgent than there. But if they are just in the regular processing, nothing bad would happen by taking a break.
Well, in actual sessions, I did tell them that I go bathroom, but I always come back with guilty, like, oh my God, yeah, I stopped I interrupted the session. Like, will it be bad? Like, I just feel very.
Well, I'd like to invite you to be curious. How is your past showing up in those moments?
Mm.
Right? Yeah.
Feel like a feeling of uncertain just rising up.
Yeah.
Or insecure.
Right. You may lose the connection, or you may be judged, or
I'm afraid that I'm um gonna affect the result because I didn't follow a proper procedure or
right.
proper.
Yeah, I'm not doing it the right way, the best way. How could it be the best way if we don't take care of our body? This is a model really integrates us. We are part of, and we really model what we want to see from our clients. And it's so beautiful when I ask a client that I've been seeing twice a week that would it be okay we cancel that Friday session? I feel stretched. I need to say more no's to give myself more room. And my client said, thank you for taking care of yourself, or observing your limits. I appreciate you being the model. Yeah. Savor the new experience. So that anything we observe can be applied or recorded on the memories in Lyla's log. What do you notice? Feeling guilty after having to take a bathroom break. How is this a memory or a lie? I interrupted the client. I'm doing something wrong. I'm negatively affecting the outcome, blah, blah, blah. Related memories. This year old. If you can connect the dots, then savor what's new now. What's the true new and new truth? I matter. My body matters.
Thank you.
All right. Good questions.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the part where, because Sia was yarning. I can't find it in the script, but was yawning for like several times. I wasn't sure if that's stress coming out of her as a part of processing, or she was kind of dissociated a little bit. So I think it happened already 2 or 3 times during our session with the Xiang. And sometimes she's like, I'm sleepy, I feel sleepy, or I feel, or just yarning. And then I was like, should I continue to process? Or like normally, like if I notice this happened like 2 times and more, then I will ask her to find like 3 objects like colored in red or colored in blue, and then take it as a sort of dissociation, and then go back to a process. But I'm actually not sure. Like maybe it's her body is relaxing or releasing some of the tension. In that I will be interrupting because I stopped the process. So how can we know?
Did she respond?
The second after she said, "Oh, I feel sleepy," twice, and the third time I respond.
No. When you asked, what are you noticing now? Did she give you a response?
Yeah, she said, "I feel sleepy."
Okay. So that itself is information that she's still able to observe her state. She's present enough with me. If she's already falling asleep and you ask the question, you are waiting, 5 seconds pass, 10 seconds pass, and she's, what did you say? Okay, she's not with me. And I might ask, are you here with me? Yeah, and I'm struggling to stay awake. Or, yeah, well, it's really hard. Yeah. I'm shutting down or I'm falling asleep. Right? Being able to observe and describe their experience, that's presence. And giving a response right away, that's presence.
Thank you.
Yeah. And it is very normal. It makes sense after processing some intense emotions or disturbance or stress and coming down off of that nervous system is shifting state from sympathetic or from completely shut down now to a more ventral or yeah, most, I guess, oftentimes coming down from sympathetic activation. I'm coming back to this relaxed, regulated state. Yawning is a natural sign to take in more oxygen, taking our time to get deeper breath, breathing. Yeah.
I think that's my main issues and main questions.
All right.
Thank you.
You are very welcome. What is one thing you did well? Give yourself a pat on the back.
Well, from our session, I would say the whole thing was quite smooth in the flow and again like follow script and everything. So I would say I did well on that part.
Yeah. You are quite settled in your role leading this process. You don't have to be, trying to figure out, am I doing it right or no? Yeah.
I have to tell you, Liz, like even in the daily work, like now I can just go off the script. Not not like before. Like before I have to check. Okay. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, like which stage I am in, and then I don't want to like forget anything. But right now, like I can just go off the script. I can remember everything.
Yeah. Part of it is the repetition of practice. And
Correct.
I bet a big part of it is working through some of your early disturbance, right? That always changes our threshold to feel, oh, I need to do something, something's wrong, right? Now the threshold is so low, it's so higher, much higher. Oh, we're all good, we're all good, we're all good. We can all chill. Yeah. Every piece of unprocessed memory serves this function to change our threshold for detect safe threats of danger. So that's another reason why this PTI model, we really encourage you to, if you are willing to, do your own work. The best way to understand and support our clients is to really get to understand how our experience, our nervous system works. Xiang, I did review most part of your video. So if you want to ask question, ask me the specific segment, I think we don't need to pull up the video.
Okay. So I think overall, my feeling of the session is that it also go quite smoothly. Um, like even though um, it's a surprise for Lyla as she shared that the SAT score suddenly went so high. But then we do manage to stay with that and then keep processing, which I feel good about the process. I noticed that one thing that I missed, which is quite important, is the re-evaluation part. That I was too nervous and just jump into processing the memory. Um, and then I think um, I won't make that mistake again because I already noticed that. And then I can like, review that next time when in the process.
Sounds like just a minute ago, Lyla gave you more information about how she presenting issue or the current.
Yeah.
Every day she feels more confident or more calmer.
Mm. Mhm.
You
Yeah.
don't have to like check each every time, but that's a kind of a bulletin point for you to kind of have this broader view to kiss the brain just doesn't shut down completely after our session. There will continue to be integration, processing. So we want to kind of assess and new experiences as we process through earlier disturbance. Client might start to more often start to already having new behaviors. No, I can use my voice more, or I'm less reactive. I can just walk away, blah, blah, blah. Really celebrate those new experiences, right? The new experiences also have same power to like really influence our algorithm as trauma memory, right? I spoke up and it was well received. Wow, good. The world is just a little safer now that I have this good new experience under my belt. Yeah.
I have a question about the cognitive interweave. Um, I'm actually not sure what I did is cognitive interweave. But I did process a few times with like verbally check in with client, with Lyla. Um, I'm not sure if I'm using it at the right point because I'm not uh, used to do that in the process.
Can you give me one example?
Yeah.
What did you say?
So
Besides, go with that. Notice that.
so I wrote down that there's one point where Lila expressed that there's physical sensations being stuck in the body, and not being able to, like the feeling of wanting to cough and is stuck somewhere and not coming up. I can't remember what I said. Let me go back to the.
Hold the memory and the feelings and go with that.
Yeah,
Something like that.
I think. Yeah, I think.
If the client is reporting a specific sensation, I don't think that's that you need to give that guidance, go with that. It kind of encompasses everything. Just go with that. But if the same sensation is persistent and doesn't seem to be changing and moving, and the client or you might start to feel really stuck or frustrated about it not moving, right? As things continue to move and change, then everybody feels okay with keep going. But if it's same, not now bigger, or that after several sets, it can become itself become a point of tension. Then that really could be helpful if you offered an interwave. I will put I put some notes, comments in your script. One possible specific with sensations, one potential one you could just pause and ask. I wonder if those sensations, or if that specific tightness, or whatever you referred to, had words, what would it be saying now? I don't need to have an answer. The client should just be wondering about that and go with that. Or the client may come up with an answer. I just want to cough something out, or it's stuck. I need to get this out. I can't breathe or something. Then go with that. Whatever the client says. That helps with some linkage of stuck sensation and making sense of what the body is trying to do. We don't really need to say anything more, but inviting curiosity. Some point, if there's some big sensations not moving, you could also invite, it's more of a somatic resource. It can be also considered as a somatic interwave. Would you like to try something? We always ask for invitation, right? Would you like to try something? I don't know if this will definitely do anything, but would you be willing to try to extend or try to do alignment intentionally? Align your spine and notice your breathing. That kind of helps the body to be in a better posture to process through things. It may help, it may not help. We don't know. We just invite the client to try if the client is okay with it. Or oftentimes I may also invite, I'm noticing the sensation is stuck and the client is holding their breath. Holding the breath itself could be part of the memory. And I might invite again. If it feels okay, I'd like to invite you to continue to breathe into that sensation as you notice it. One breath at a time. Go with that. As you are breathing, that tells the body that I'm actually here, I'm safe, I can get the air in, right? That facilitates the processing of the disturbing material. These are all potential ones you could offer.
Thank you for that. I didn't know that we can invite a somatic into it. Like an exercise or like just to try something.
We don't want to overdo it, right? We trust the client's system actually knows what to do. But when there is some gap, when there is kind of seem like not moving, stuckness. Okay, the assignment for next month is very simple. Just come back with reevaluation, continue with the same memory if you didn't complete, or even if you completed and more disturbance, or if it's not zero sud, go back to the memory, or if it's zero, move on to the next one. If it's zero, but you didn't complete phases 5 and 6, I would still invite you to go back. Take that as the first zero for phase 4 and ask the client, would it be okay? We continue to the other phases to make sure it's clear. Notice that's 0 and get a second 0, then move on to phase 5. So again, last session, whether it's complete or incomplete, does not directly predict when you come back. You based on this moment information from the reevaluation to decide where to go next. Okay, that'll be your submission for meeting 7. So we'll do 2 rounds of that. Then we'll have time to practice future template and maybe even restricted protocol before we get to our last couple meetings. Sounds good? You can try technology, different tools for BLS, really attune to your client to decide how long or short the BLS sets. We don't want to stop when the client is still just getting over a big wave. We kind of, it helps when the clients have some natural take a deep breath or seems like coming down, right? As the client is showing intense emotion as we stop, what message does it send? I'm not okay, I can't handle your big emotions. These subtle messages may affect the nervous system. I may need to control my crying or whatever. So feel it, use your attunement. All right, we're 2 minutes over. All good?
Thank you.
Yeah, feel free to email if you have any questions.